All right, what is up, guys? We are here with another Overprime video. How is everyone doing today? We are doing a tier list, a long-awaited tier list. So considering there's going to probably be some delays for characters, it's probably a good time to do it. I should have done it way earlier, but I was just testing some characters and I was lazy. I have not been live or making a video in the last couple of days. I've been a little sick, but allergies specifically, so I'm fine. But we're here today. I'm gonna probably sound a little bit stuffed up, but I'm excited, kind of. I mean, this is going to be a quicker tier list probably than the rest because we kind of already know what everyone does. The tier list hasn't, I feel like, shifted too much, but there are some new additions. I think the last time we made a tier list was before the Crunch update. I don't think I ever plays Crunch, so it's been or Iggy, right? Iggy too, yeah. So it's been a while because yeah, Crunch came after Iggy. But yeah, we've received Mako as well. So you have Mako, Crunch, and Iggy new on the tier list. I think Wukong as well. I didn't do a tier list for Wukong, did I? I don't remember. I don't think I did. It's been a very long time because he came out in January, so it's been 3-4 months. Jesus Christ. They just kept popping out character after character, and I was too late. I wanted to really test them, but I pretty much know almost where everyone falls. There's a couple that I'm kind of iffy on for me personally. With the small player base, it's kind of hard to get a good gauge because a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions on certain characters. Like, people still think Kalari is good, for instance, when she's not. People think Chimera is the best jungler ever, which he's not. Spoiler alert. Stuff like that. It's like the player base is definitely mixed on a lot of things, and it's like what is correct and what is not. Hard to tell when we have such a small user base, you know. But anyways, going into the tier list. Again, this is also my thoughts, opinions. It's not like a set in stone thing. It's just what I believe. I do have some wild takes, so get ready for it. This is kind of in alphabetical order, so yeah, I think so. Generally, I tried to make it like that. I might have missed a few, but who cares? But yeah, generally, we're just going to go over every character. We're not going to spend too long in each one. I will go over some of the things that change for characters that I can remember off the top of my head. But yeah, a lot of the characters, in my opinion, I think a lot of the characters, most characters are in a good spot. I think most. There are some that just need massive buffs, some that need slight tweaks, whether it's a buff or a nerf. But for the most part, I think everyone's in a good spot, much more than they used to be, depending on who you are. So, for better or for worse. But yeah, anyways. If you guys do enjoy the video, though, please do drop a like and subscribe. Again, like I said, this was a long time coming. I have to make a tier list. I have to make plenty of different guide videos and stuff. Been a little bummed out, though, since nothing's really getting fixed, sadly. Like, none of the optimization issues are fixed with Zenna and stuff. Aurora still has some glitches, like, you know, that I found out last stream. Just stuff like that. It's like, you know, the optimization stuff. I also hope they do a game overhaul. Like I said, Ranger said in the Discord there might be a delay. But he didn't say that, but he said they're going to be a development change in the roadmap, so that means a delay probably. So hopefully there's like a massive overhaul for the game when it comes to a lot of things. I was making actually a video yesterday. I was recording one talking about it, and I kind of just like didn't finish it, so I'll probably re-record it sometime soon. Talk about basically what I want to see with the game, the changes and stuff. But here we're talking about balancing today, so let's get right into it. Aurora, my favorite character in the game. I'm kidding. She's like my second favorite, third favorite, probably my second favorite character in the game. I think reasonably, even though maybe third. I play a lot of Wukong. A lot of people play Wukong now really bad, but I do like Wukong a lot. The thing about Wukong is it does require a team that isn't going to troll you. So he's very, you know, despite being a solo carry, people who are feeding will ruin your game. Like, if people can stagnate the game a little bit, like at least till the 30-minute mark, you pretty much win the game. But if they're feeding their brains out because you're not going to be involved, then it just like, yeah. So that's why I like playing Aurora over Wukong personally. But anyways, Aurora, solid S tier. You guys obviously have no surprise. I make countless videos saying this is the best character in the game. I know a lot of people, I guess, disagree. Don't know why. I get that in solo play, she's not going to be the most reliable because she's not going to solo everybody. Obviously, she's not going to carry a game. But in terms of actual team play, if you were to take 5 good players and 5 other good players, she's just, her kit, it literally has the best things you could ask for. She has a good separating ability with her wall. She can also farm super safely. She's untouchable. She can literally get out of almost every situation. She's insanely valuable in team fights. She has insane pressure. She's a massive tank. She can freeze an entire team in a cluster fight, especially near the Overprime battles, which is usually what's happening. She's a really good diver. She can dive towers. She can tank towers. She can take objectives. She can tank objectives. She can jungle if you really want her to. She's one of the best jungle tanks in the game, which isn't saying much. There's so much this character can do. She's so versatile. And no matter what, even if you're playing with a trashy team, you're still probably going to perform very well. You could take 2v1s reasonably, depending on who it is. As long as it's like a Zenna or something, you could pretty much take 2v1s. You could space really well. You can escape, like I said, almost every situation. She's insane. She just got so many buffs over and over again that she did not need. All welcome. She's going to need nerfs at some point. But a lot of them were damage buffs, which are kind of okay. But one of them recently was a health scaling buff on her ring ability, which honestly isn't that bad. It doesn't give her like an absurd amount of damage, but I feel like I'm doing way more than I used to, just overall with every buff included. But she definitely feels overtuned. Like when I think about tanks, even more so than certain other characters, I just want to play her. Like it doesn't, I feel like having another tank for me is way less valuable now because she just does way too much. She really is insane. She is, a lot of people are saying she's broken now, which again, she's always been broken. Like even before any of her buffs, she's been disgustingly good, mostly because of her ultimate, but also just because of her kits just being so insane. But they just keep giving her damage buff after damage buff after damage buff just because they want her to be a caster. She's not a caster anymore, but she probably has some of the highest damage output realistically of a tank you could probably get if you were to constantly hit. Which you're a mage, you're not gonna, but she's insane. She does too much in a fight in my opinion. I do think she needs nerfs, but I don't know where you could start because a lot of it comes down to her ultimate just being insanely good, and then her mobility, aside from lengthening her cooldowns or changing the way the ability works, which I don't even know how. Like, how do you nerf her ice slide, make it shorter? You know, how do you nerf her clone, make it not be able to tank things? Like, I don't want that. I want her to have that versatility, but it's like those things make her really broken. So I don't know what they can do. Maybe put her as a caster scaling, even though she's a tank. Who knows? Yep, she's S tier. Not a surprise. I think she's the best team fighting character in the game. So I think she's number one, but you'll kind of see where I go with that. Definitely the best team fighting character in the game. If you were to actually coordinate with this character, there's no one could beat her in like kit. No one, not a single person here. Her kit's insane. Belica. I think Belica is probably one of, if not the best caster in the game. I know people are like, oh, that's so shocking. She's the short range. Like, no, dude, she fucking slaps. I fought so many casters recently and like good players. I've been trying to get into 4-stacks. I played Belica recently into one. I think I was playing a Howitzer, and dude, oh my god, it was a massive stomp. And I just thought about it, I was like, damn, dude, Belica is like the mage counter. I don't know what they did. They buffed her drone, and after they buffed her drone, dude, that drone hurts. It really does. I've been getting killed by it a lot. And she can get it like early, and it hurts very much. You put it down, and but right before you go in, you just slap that drone down, and it's just GG. Like, you pretty much win most matchups that aren't Countess and like Shimbi. And even then, you counter Countess pretty hard. Shimbi, you're probably going to lose, but Countess is going to, you can knock her up when she teleports to you and back up. Most of the time she won't have a chance unless she blinks on you to actually do anything. So and then every other mage, she despite not having I think that she doesn't have the max range. Like, I think Howitzer and Gideon outrange her. She just consistently does more damage. Her bomb is up so much. I think it's up more than anyone else because, she had like the Faye treatment where Faye had that easy lock-on ability, but she has the same thing except you have to aim it, but it's huge. It does a lot of damage, and it's a good combo. Every other bomb you're gonna get a combo up. So she's insane. I think she's probably one of the best casters in the game right now. I mean, I've seen her played like higher levels when we were back when we had like Diamond, Grandmaster, whatever, really well from like really good players. So I'm not surprised she's still super good after getting buffs. But again, not much has changed in terms of the scaling of her or anything. She only received buffs, so I'm not going to put her lower. She's still A tier. The meta hasn't shifted to where like these characters who were A tier before are now B tier. Like, no, everyone's pretty much who's A tier is still A tier. Absolutely disgusting, really good. Think she's insane. Definitely worth. Countess, I think Countess is S tier. I was debating on where to put her. I really wanted to keep her A tier, but I just can't argue with the fact that they buffed her to an insane extent. They made it so early game Countess now has her abilities synced. So when you teleport, you now have your wave ripple, you're like, your biggest damage ability synced with your dash or your teleport. So before, you had to really play around that, which made her super hard to like play because you had to wait way longer. But now the second your dash is up, you don't have to wait anymore. You could just teleport in and use your wave ripple. Half the time your wave ripple's up before your dash is up. I'm like, what the heck? That thing used to be like a 14-second cooldown or something. Now it's like a 9-second cooldown at like max level or whatever. It's synced with your dash. So the entire laning phase, and mid specifically, is literally you just waiting for your dash to come up, teleporting to whoever you're fighting, and then hitting them with the wave ripple and backing up. not even touching the wave. You take 0 damage. You could just walk up there and do whatever you want. It's disgusting. I think it's insane. I don't understand why they thought that was a good idea. Now, I think it feels better to play, but I think it makes her character way too easy. It kind of like, it doesn't reward the skilled play that she used to have where you really had to think about playing. They just keep buffing this character because people don't know how to play her. These are one of those things like just like Aurora or even Belica, like people don't know how to play together. She is insane. She does an absurd amount of damage. I see her played almost every game, ranked, non-ranked. I see her played all the time, mostly in solo because people don't know how to play mid. But again, here's a tip. If you guys play mid, if you're losing your matchup, you don't actually have to risk your life clearing the wave. Don't use your abilities on the wave. Just use it on the person you're fighting. Literally just do that. Don't step up to the wave to auto it. Let them come to you, and the second they're in your vision, just hit them with an ability. Don't even worry about the wave until you get pressure on them. That'll literally save you a lifetime of pain and misery. When you're playing characters like Countess or any melee character that has to get into range of the wave and you're fighting a ranger, just don't waste your abilities on the wave. Generally, as Countess, it's super easy to get in. So, but yeah, she's insane. I'm gonna keep her S tier for now. I see too many good Countesses, even bad Countesses that prosper. So definitely pretty gross. I think she definitely needs some nerfs, maybe a damage nerf now, because even if her abilities are synced, her damages are just absurdly high. She does like 4,000 damage, like 3,000, 4,000 damage with her whole combo. She's disgusting. Definitely needs a nerf. Crunch. I think Crunch is really solid. I think he's A tier. I think he is one of the best warriors in the game right now. He's just really solid. I wanted to put him S tier, but I just don't think he's quite there. He got a buff when he came out, basically, like a week or two after. He got like a dash buff, which I think he needed. I definitely liked the ability to get in more because that seemed to be the issue. Even with that dash buff, though, he's still not really a good backline diver. He's really meant to be up front. So this character, a lot of people like building him damage, but no one plays this character. I've never seen this character in ranked. I think I saw him once in ranked. I haven't seen him a lot ever. Not even in quick play. I barely see this character. Probably because he's pretty easy to play, but people just like building him damage. And it says, guys, no, just build. He's a tank. Like play him in solo, play him in jungle. He is a tank. Build him like a tank. You could start with 1 damage item, but that's about it. You don't really need much else. 2 max. I think 2 like Hurricane Sword is like the one of the damage items you have, and then the other one is going to be like Spirit's Fang. That's it. You don't need attack speed with this character, by the way, guys. He doesn't need attack speed. Do not get attack speed. Not worth it. You only auto like once or twice at the end of the game between your abilities. It's just really not worth it to get any attack speed. I know people love that one item that reduces your cooldown, especially because it's good now. I like the item. Don't get it. It's not worth. It literally hinders you. You might as well just get another tank item. But yeah, like I said, this character is a tank. He's supposed to frontline for his team. You can play him in the jungle. He's not a bad jungler by any means. He's definitely the best clearing tank jungle in the game, but he definitely feels more like a tank than a warrior. I've tried him 4 damage, 3 damage, 3 hybrid. It just full damage. It doesn't work. It literally doesn't work. You get blown up in seconds. Your ability to lock down people isn't good enough to just dash in without taking a shit ton of damage, especially against better players. Just go tank crunch, frontline for your team, provide that insane CC, because you're going to be stunning like crazy as tank. That's also the thing. You also have insane utility. You have a stun, you have a push dash, you have a knock up, like, and you have a repeat of your abilities in general. You have a slow, you have a defense reduction. Like you're probably one of the best tanks in the game, so utilize that. I'm not going to put him S tier. There's definitely counterplays, matchups and stuff, and he definitely has some hard he has some hard times when it comes to actually like doing the 5v5s, but in terms of actually these 1v1s, he's pretty much winning every single one for the most part, and he's crushing it, man. He's disgusting. When he came out, I thought he was absolutely the most broken character in the game, but definitely like no one like, replicated that thought process for mine. So he's not as good as I thought, but I like him. I definitely think he's great. Decker, no surprise here. I think she's fucking disgusting. One of the best characters in the game. People have been playing ADC Decker. Stop doing that. I keep seeing people like being like, "Oh, ADC Decker is the most broken thing in the game." No, guys, no. Decker by herself is the most broken thing in the game. I've had so many matchups where the enemy team will have a support Decker, fully support kit, and then we have a support Decker who's ADC or Decker, whatever, and we just lose every single time. Every time I have a Decker ADC, I lose every single time. I've never had a Decker ADC carry a game for me. The enemy team has. I've seen them carry, but like never us. Not worth it. Just go support Decker. But as for Decker in general, her support capabilities are insane. I mean, she's always been crazy. I've always thought she was S tier. I don't know why people didn't think she was broken. She got a nerf recently, but they didn't really do much in my opinion. I think she's still absolutely busted. The support capabilities of just having the zone ult is just disgusting. It literally just gives you free kills usually. It's also insane safety. You have your dash up every 3 seconds with CDR. You got, with the support capabilities that you can actually apply to your teammates with the items. You have your stun. You're pretty much never going to die. Like, you're never going to let your team die. You're never going to die. You're going to be insane setup. She's one of the best setup characters in the game. Absolutely disgusting character. I don't really know how you nerf this character. Kind of like Aurora. She's more of an enabler, but I don't really know how you nerf something like this. Like, make her stun last less, I guess. It's like, I don't want that. Her attack speed maybe needs a little bit of reduction again, because it got a reduction recently. That was the nerf. But her bubble that she puts up that slows people maybe needs more of a reduction. But even then, like, those are just stat value changes. I think her kit in general just makes her one of the best. It's hard to beat her kit as a support or anyone, really. It's just disgusting. Feng Mao. I don't like this character. I think this character is kind of garbage in comparison to a lot of other people. He's good against ADCs, but that's about it. He doesn't really do anything else. Against any kind of like tanky or hybrid character, he's going to pretty much just lose. He does have a cleanse with a shield, so that's nice. But even with that, it's still just kind of shit. But he's a solid pick in general. In comparison to every other warrior in the game, I really just don't like him. I think he's kind of garbage. Beating one of them, but I think you guys know who. He's just not that good. I mean, he's solid for team fights, but his ultimate is not impactful. His damage is mediocre unless you hit your dash. But that's the thing. If you dash in as Feng Mao, you're pretty much just guaranteed to die. Because you don't have the trading ability as like Sarath or Grux or any one of those of that caliber. So, Feng Mao dashing isn't the same as Grux or Sarath dashing. It just isn't. Like, you're not going to do the same things. You're meant to be played like an assassin, but you're a warrior. Like, and the assassin build doesn't work for him. It's just, and his ult isn't percent scaling, it's health scaling. So the max it can go to is like 750. So you're only good against flat, like in targets with like 2000 HP. If you go against a tank, you're never going to kill them. Stuff like that. It's like, I don't know. He's just not that good. He definitely needs some kind of love. Definitely needs a change. I don't know what specifically, aside from the percent change, you can do. I think that's all that's necessary. Just to be a threat to tanks, I think would be good enough for me to, like, honestly put him like near S tier, even borderline S tier. But right now, he's just not there. Faye. I think Faye is one of the weakest casters right now, early game. Considering she was pretty much the most broken caster in the game at one point, she's pretty much the weakest right now. I think the changes were good for her, just because they were good just in general for us, because she was just out of control. But I think now she's still strong. Her setup is still good, but her damage late game is really carried by the items, not really her kit. I think her cooldowns are probably a little bit too long. I think instead of buffing that one easy ability, I think her right click just needs a buff. I think it just needs to be able to self-detonate for, a good amount of damage. And then maybe if you wait to the end and you self-detonate, it's like more damage. I just think that definitely needs some kind of self-detonation, or maybe like a root at the initial cast of it. I don't know. It needs something. She needs something more to make her blow up actually meaningful, because that's supposed to be her main damage, but right now it isn't. Mini Moda did just get buffed, so I haven't tested it on her yet and to see if it's like necessary, but it probably is. But you definitely want the blow up 100% on the Faye. So that's like the goal of her kit, and I'm glad she's back to the way she was back in OG Paragon, where that was the goal of your kit. You're supposed to ult them into the blow up, but that's like a one-time thing. There's just better casters too. Like, she's good. I think she's A tier, surprisingly. I think the items really carry her, but definitely needs some kind of love on her blow up ability. I think her speed up is fine. I think the mana regen thing should get the mana regen back and lower the damage even more. I think it should just be decent, like very slight poke and not do a lot of damage, and then put all the damage into her right click and then make it self-detonating. I think that would make her a much better character. And their ultimate's still fantastic. I like her ultimate a lot. Definitely still A tier though, not quite B tier. Definitely feels lackluster at the start of the game though. I'm not going to slaughter down here, because I'm thinking about, like, at the end of a game, if you could just farm your way to max level, you're still hitting pretty damn hard on Faye. Gadget, I think Gadget's fucking phenomenal. I don't know why people have slept on her after her nerfs. I think she's fucking amazing. I've been playing the crap out of Gadget, actually. She's probably my second favorite range caster right now. I definitely enjoy her. She just does a lot of damage, and she's super safe. I feel like she's one of the most safe casters in the game. When you get dove, you're pretty much not going to go down without a fight. You're going to slow the shit out of the enemies, especially with the mini moto change. I really want to build that item on her, because they're never going to leave the dome ever, like when you ult or even your right click. She's just a really solid character. Her damage is fucking ludicrous, especially with the new item meta. For me, guys, personally, I came up with the mage build. I don't know if anyone else is building exactly like this. If you start the boots, like the normal boots, and then you go into the mathematician's proc, those two procs together on Gadget are just fucking ludicrous. They do so much damage, it is not even funny. Most ranged mages who can do that or take advantage of them, like Belica, Gadget, they just prosper so much with those items. She just, again, with her long range and just ability to just kind of sit in the back line, and especially at the end of the game where you're just like two-shotting carries, those two procs are disgusting. 3 bombs is just, all you need is 3 bombs and it's certain death for pretty much any squishy, and it's super easy to get because you're going to be out of range of them the entire time. So she's really solid. She provides a lot of backline coverage in terms of just like her abilities in a team fight. Those orb battles are in her favor because of her ultimate. She can shred the entire team as they go in for the orb in the back by putting in like an ult behind the orb as they come in. She's just disgusting. Small corridors. She's like the king of small corridors, queen of small corridors. She's absolutely disgusting. Definitely love her. I've been playing her a lot more. Definitely needs more love. I don't know why people stopped playing her in the first place. She hasn't gotten nerfed since, aside from the caster nerf, but she's been solid ever since. I definitely like her. Yeah, top tier. I do think Gideon is actually insane right now. I think everyone can not argue about his capabilities right now. His ultimate is probably just insanely valuable in fights, which is why people like it so much. I don't see there's not a lot of characters who can counterplay his ult, and a good Gideon will take advantage of that. So Gideon, solid A tier. He just provides a lot of things to the team. He provides a lot of backline coverage, just like Gadget, long range backline coverage. He has that pull to interrupt. He also has the combo, the pull into the rock. He's half health and carries literally at the end of the game, pretty much in one combo. And then when you get low, I guess people say cultist blow is good on him. So if that's true, you can cultist blow, you can ult below 50 and just pretty much insta kill in a team fight after you see people use their dashes and blinks and stuff. He's just really good. He's really safe too. Like, he's really, really safe. I think he's harder to play than like Faye, Gadget, even Belica to an extent, but even then he's not bad. He's really solid. A really good Gideon will shine. You can definitely see the skill gap between a really good Gideon and a really bad one. Me being the really bad, can't play this guy for shit, versus a really good one. Definitely really good character. Solid A tier. Not S tier, but really, really good. He's in a really good spot right now. Grux, I think obviously is really, really good. I think Grux is really solid. He recently just got a 5% damage buff on his ultimate for the scaling, which is really nice. Definitely needed it because he was kind of lacking that trade power with most of the other warriors that are pretty up there. But he does it, man. He does a lot of damage now. He did a lot of damage before, but he feels more like a frontline than like a backline diver, but his team grouping ability is amazing. I think I'd rather have Grux in solo than jungle, but he's not a bad jungler by any means. He's still a really good one. He still does a lot of damage. He clears camps easy. He's a good hybrid. Definitely should build this character hybrid, but I feel like you have the option to build him like a tank for sure because of his grouping ability just being so good. But other than that, I mean, he doesn't really do that much. Like, his damage isn't ludicrous or anything. He does have anti-heal innately, which is nice. So those early ganks on like Mako and Narbash, if you're ever playing that character, you're just really, really solid. Definitely like this character. He has the stun for the interrupt, and just in general, just to kind of like help him in those fights if there's someone's challenging an ability. He's not going to be out trading every other warrior, but he's one of the better ones for just pure damage, just for auto attacking. Pretty easy to outplay his ult by just walking away, but a good Grux will like time his ultimate properly. So definitely really good character. Just solid pick. Howitzer, same thing, solid pick. I don't like him as a caster personally, but I thought his damage was lower, but I guess it's just for some reason he just feels really weak and lackluster. He does have an issue on the wave where a lot of the times it'll clip a minion and then it just doesn't go off because the hitbox is fucking huge. Definitely needs to like fix that hitbox issue. But overall, he's a pretty solid caster. His ultimate is really good in like the later game team fights. It's like a lesser Gadget ult pretty much. It's honestly way worse because you're never going to get like stuck in that. Maybe it needs like an initial slow, or I think it needs to be more spread out and not all front loaded at the end. But other than that, I mean, his damage is pretty decent in terms of like a caster. Like, he's close to Gadget pretty much in damage when it comes to the overall. Technically he has more because he has that right click and the knock up, but the knock up being a really good way of positioning as well. Really annoying for anyone who's melee for sure. But I do think he gets run down pretty easily by melee with less threat until he uses his ult. Most of the howitzers for me goes, I get on him and then he'll sit there. If he decides to use damage abilities, he'll knock me away with him, and then he'll ult immediately, realizing he can't get away. And then what I'll do is I'll walk to whatever side he's gonna land. Usually I'll try to cut off his path behind him, and then he'll go in a different direction towards my team and he'll die. That's usually how howitzers go. So I'm not really a fan of him personally, because I feel like a lot of his escapability is like super telegraphed, I guess, but he still does a lot of damage. So again, he has got that going for him, but he doesn't have like the mobility that Gadget has, despite having more mobility initially, you know, innately. It's much easier to time and like figure out where he's going. So I'm not the biggest fan of him though. Like I said, he has a couple of kit issues when it comes to like the wave and stuff. Just needs to fix that a little bit, and then he'd be pretty solid. So solid A tier. Iggy and Scorch. So this character, I want to put S tier, but I also want to put B tier. Honestly, maybe even C tier. This character is, I think, at any low level, probably one of the most broken characters in the game. And even I have an annoying time fighting against him. But against actual good players, this character is beyond useless. I have never seen an Iggy carry a game in like ranked or anything, like, you know, ever. I've never seen a good Iggy ever in terms of like when there's 5 good players against 5 good players. Iggy's so shit. He's so bad. He takes advantage of those matches where like you have 1 or 2 bad people, and then he'll just like kind of steamroll the entire team, because he just has a lot of, and he'll play like really sneakily, but he's just such a shit character otherwise. He doesn't do anything. He just sits there and hopes you run into him, and then he has he has 0 pressure, but you also can't push into him unless you have a ranger or a caster with you. Like a tank is useless against him, unless you have 2 tanks with you, and they're just gonna fucking like barrage him. 1 tank is probably gonna die. He definitely does a lot of damage and he goes out fighting, but at the same time, you can't really do anything with him, right? Like, I think opposite to another character who's just only meant for pushing, he's meant for defending, which is what they said. Then he had a phase where he was just absolutely insane, but right now, currently in the game, he feels a lot weaker because he's got a massive nerf, and I think it was definitely warranted. I think his design is super toxic, but that toxicity is more for newer players, but this, you know, which is where I put him S tier against new players, but at the same time, against good players, he's just not that good. He doesn't do anything. I definitely think he's definitely overrated in my opinion. He's banned every ranked game though, so part of me wants to just put him S tier because of that. But I feel like, again, that's a player-based issue. It's a data issue. It's like people don't know how to counter him. They don't want to play against him. Whatever. Blah blah blah. Kind of like the other most banned character, which we'll talk about later on. I don't know, man. He doesn't, in my opinion, deserve the S tier against good players. But again, I know against low-level players in any capacity, even mid-tier players, he's just going to be S tier. Like, people are going to just not know how to counter him, especially if you're a melee-oriented team. You definitely need like casters and rangers to really be good to counter him, because you have to destroy his turrets, you have to focus him. But he's just a sitting duck most of the time when it comes to actually good players. Like, realistically, no, he's not. He has a 1 strat where he's supposed to wait in Overprime bush and blast you with turrets. That's pretty much all he has. Other than that, he's like pretty useless in the time. Like, most of the time in the game, he's just pretty useless. So, I don't know. I'll keep him B tier, but again, if you're a newer player, just know he's S tier for you guys, because obviously it's going to be a lot harder to counter him if you're not like playing really well. But yeah, again, not really that good. Kalari, you put her C tier. Kalari is shit. She's so bad. She's probably the worst damage dealer in the game. She's just so fucking bad. She does nothing. I haven't seen a good Kalari carry a game in forever. I've seen a Kalari who was like 9-1, but like then their damage was super low. And I was like, what? And I like the Kalari too. I was like, why was their damage so low? Because they're Kalari. It's very hard to apply the damage. So Kalari just has a lot of kit issues. So she has gotten nerfed pretty much directly from the ward patch, where everyone received a ward for free. She got a direct nerf because obviously she had stealth. She was already bad before that, but she got a nerf, and then they decided, hey, instead of buffing her, let's give her another nerf. So they decided to nerf her right click, which is all of her damage pretty much, because her ultimate doesn't slap that hard, not as hard as it should unless you're full damage, and you can't go full damage Kalari because she can't apply her damage all the way, not like Zenna or Countess, a real assassin, or FaZe or Shimbi. Those are like real assassins, but she's not an assassin. She doesn't work like an assassin despite having stealth, because everyone can see her. And if you're a good support, you're going to see her and you're going to stun her and she's going to die in 2 seconds. She is pretty worthless. There are some techs you can do with her, but again, those don't, why would you ever play her over any other jungler, any other tank jungle even? Her clear isn't insane or anything. She doesn't do anything special. She's just super lackluster. She doesn't have a good escape. She doesn't have her double jump anymore from like she has in Pred. She has nothing going for her. She is absolutely garbage. Definitely needs a whole rework for her kit in terms of stealth. I think she should just get rid of the ability altogether or just do something else with it. Add some kind of like mitigation, shield, dash, whatever, teleport, insane mechanic you need to. I don't care what it is, just get rid of the stealth. It's stupid. I hate stealth in video games, and her stealth is worthless in this game, like every other stealth in the game, which is there's only 2, I think. She just needs help. She needs her kit rework. I think she, at least if you're going to keep the stealth, just give her more physical damage on any ability. Just like if she throws her right click after, you know, when she's invisible, she comes out of invisibility, and that right click does 150% of her physical damage, like a Spirit's Fang, basically. That would definitely help her quite a bit, because then she wouldn't have to worry about, you know, getting behind the person. Because if you guys don't know, Kalari has to get behind someone to do her full damage to get that free crit auto to keep up in damage with 90% of the other people in the game, and she just can't do it. It's impossible to get behind someone unless they're a new player with no wards and actually hit that auto. And they're moving so much and sporadically anyways. Good luck hitting it in the first place. She definitely needs help. There is a tech you could try to do where you teleport to a person and then walk around them. So if you see someone like a Twin Blast Dash and you teleport to him, and then you try to quickly walk around him and hit the auto after hitting your invisibility, that's an option, but why play her? Just play anyone else, dude. Terrible. Chimera. I actually think Chimera is not as bad. I think where Iggy is, he's pretty useless against good players, but he's pretty solid. I think he's a noob stomper. I think new players are going to struggle with his character. He's pretty solid. I like him. I haven't seen a good one in like forever, but he's good. I have to give him props. I can't believe I'm saying that. Chimera is good. I think he's solid. I don't think he's good. I don't think he's an A tier or anything. I think he's still B tier. I think he still needs a little bit of help. I think you should just give him a ranged tomahawk throw that it stuns people or something crazy like that. I don't know. Or maybe it's something else. Or maybe he throws it and it sticks into them, then his jump will activate it and it'll explode for like, you know, 300, 400 physical damage. That would be amazing. But his 1v1 potential is actually pretty high. But it's super easy, depending on the character. Like, if I'm Sarath, or if I'm anyone else who has a dash, pretty much, super easy to get away from him, super easy to, like, break his stacks. Yeah, I don't know. He just needs a little bit of help. But overall, I mean, again, his damage is actually pretty decent now. His early game still kind of sucks at level 2, level 3. Level 2, level 1. But level 3, pretty solid, because he gets his regen. And then, yeah, he pretty much just prospers from there. Just farm your way to victory. He's decent in solo, I guess, if you play like a tank, but you should probably build this character hybrid. He's not really a good tank. It's because it's really hard to get in, and you want to be doing damage. His lockdown is really good against ADCs, though, and he does a decent amount of burst, so not a bad character anymore. He was not C tier, not like Kalari, but he's not A tier. He doesn't have enough in his kit for me to put them on the same level as even like Feng Mao, and I think Feng Mao's not that great. So if you compare these two, it's like do I pick Chimera? Would you pick Feng Mao? But still a solid pick, like I said. He's not a throw anymore, which is really nice. Definitely just needs a little bit more love. Give him some other ability to help him out a little bit, or maybe make him able to expend his stacks, maybe like 10 stacks or 15 stacks at the cost of like a free cleanse or something, or a heal. That would be pretty. I think a cleanse over a heal would be nice. That would be really good. Give him a little bit more mobility or something, or maybe give him extra movement speed. That would be good. Use 10 to 14 stacks using that ability. You know, you can use 15 stacks and just instantly get more movement speed. You lose your healing for movement speed. That'd be amazing, actually. Good idea. Good idea, me. That would put him up there. Quang, dude, I want to keep him S tier. I'm gonna keep him S tier. He, for me, is still super good. The problem right now with Quang is that I can no longer chase down any kill I want because his dash is nerfed. They fixed quote unquote dashes, and they said Quang's dash was intentional. So apparently, if you guys don't know, Quang's dash is shorter because they fixed dashes, quote unquote. And the result of that was Quang's dash getting shorter for some reason. No idea why. Now, if you guys don't know, this is server side. If you go in the training mode and you test his dash is not broken in the training mode, but it's broken in game. So obviously it's a server side thing. So them fixing dashes, quote unquote, didn't do anything. First off, Zenna's dash is still broken. I don't know what dashes that they're fixing. Aurora still glitches and Zenna's still broken. And Quang now has a broken dash. So they added another broken dash to the table, and they claimed it was intentional. It's not. It doesn't make any sense. It's not broken in the training mode, which means it wasn't intentional because his kit is still working there. So you can't run around chasing kills and diving towers as much as you could before. If you get like if you go in with your teleport, which 90% of the time you have to, you're pretty much just strictly the front line now. You can't really chase these kills anymore, which again, I don't think that makes him bad or anything, but I think it just makes him, I'm just so used to playing him as this character who I only picked him in ranked, and I still probably would only pick him in ranked if Sarath wasn't available, but he's no longer that character that I can just run around getting free kills with, because I can't catch up to people as fast. It just takes too long. Like, it literally just, it takes way longer to space with people that I'm trying to chase now. It is still an iframe though, so it is really nice when you fight like a Murdoch or something. He tries to blow you back if you can time it right, or a Decker stun. It's still really nice going through that, but even then, it's like, he's just not as good as he was before, which again, it doesn't make him bad, because I think he was broken, and I still think he is broken. I think his knock-up is still insane. I think his tanking capabilities are insane. I think his poke ability is great. He still wins almost every 1v1, but it's really like, only if they decide to fight you will you be able to guarantee that kill. Against like a ranger, or not even a ranger, against like a double dash character or something, which there isn't a lot of them. But before, you had no problems, and now because they nerfed his dash, again, it's like old Quang, except he doesn't have attack speed, which is fine. Old Quang was really good too, but he had attack speed to like make those kills faster. I just don't think he's as good of a jungler anymore, basically. I really don't want to play him in jungle anymore. I just want to play him in solo, because he's a lot slower when it comes to dashing. Like, that dash really did help get kills early on, and those kills are just, it's real. I feel like I used to get away from almost every situation because of the dash. Now I just don't. Like, all I have is my sword throw, and that's it. I don't have any other way of getting in aside from my sword throw. The dash doesn't go far enough anymore. So, it is a shame, but at the same time, honestly, I think it's not even a bad change. I feel like in terms of like nerfs, like, I think it's warranted because I think he's broken. I don't understand why they say it just makes me mad that like it's intentional. Like, it's obviously not. The training mode, we could tell it's not. Is it a server side intention thing? Like, fix your servers, guys, please. Jesus Christ. Still really solid though. Like him. Great frontline. Your best tank in the game. Still definitely best tank in the game. Arguably, obviously aside from Aurora, in terms of team fighting, still one of your best 1v1ers in the game. He's beating characters like Crunch pretty easily, Wukong, all these other characters, freaking Sarath. He's beating all of them, so still really solid. Mako's S tier. I really debated on putting him S tier. I feel like he's the worst support that you can get, but worst support aside from Narbash, which I don't even count as a character right now. You know, spoiler for where he's gonna go. But yeah, I don't know. He's really, really good. His healing is just insane. Like, I think everyone could agree that this character is what we wanted Narbash to be. His healing is like ludicrous, but I feel like it's not all he has to offer. He does have a lot of CC. He has his ultimate, he has his right click, he has that random auto that happens sometimes when you really shouldn't be autoing until they're close to you. You have to time it really well though, but at the same time, it's really nice CC. It's a really good interrupt ability. He's pretty much a free lane. Like, if you have him on your team, you should really not lose the lane ever. You should be surviving. Maybe he'll die a couple of times when he gets low. Your first item should always be your health nanomachine regen thing, but really, really great pick. And he's also so fun. He's my worst character. Do you guys know that? I've healed like 45,000, 50,000, almost 50,000 damage every game within 45 to 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes intervals. I've healed about, 45-ish thousand damage. And I've lost almost every single game as Mako. Now, I don't know if that's a me problem. Maybe I just suck really bad, or maybe it's someone else's problem. But I don't know. But yeah, I feel like as Muriel, like, having the extra shields would have been way more beneficial in all those situations. I don't play a lot of Muriel, or Decker or Phase or something. But at the same time, I don't know. He's really good. I like him. I think he's great. Just insane healer. He's not the best support ever in my opinion, but he's like what you want your supports to be. He doesn't do a lot of damage, and it makes me mad because they buffed him recently, buffing his damage. I'm like, why? I don't care about his damage. Just buff his support capabilities, which don't, because his support capabilities are fucking top tier. He's not. I think the other supports need nerfs in some way, like Muriel, Decker, Phase. I think they're just too insane, but he's just really, really good. I like him. He's a real support. Like, he's not like a damage support or enabler. He's a real support. He feels like someone you'd sit there and you focus on healing your team. You don't need to focus on doing damage at all. You can poke early on, but most of the time you just save your heal for the, your carry. Let them engage, But he's just really solid. I like him. Very good character. He has a speed up. He has an ultimate that's like a good zoning ability. It's a stun. It's a push. He just has a lot in his kit. Very, very good support. Muriel, fucking absolutely disgusting. Even better than Decker. Absolutely disgusting character. I don't understand how anyone ever said this character wasn't anything but broken, and anyone, like, people used to think this character was bad. And for some reason, I've seen recently, like, everyone's saying she's OP. She's the most picked support in the game. She has to be. Aside from Decker ADC, which is 99% of the time is ADC Decker. She has to be the most picked support in the game. I only see Deckers and Muriels ever. In ranked, I see some Makos, but not as much as Muriel or Decker. Like, and specifically Muriel. Every single ranked game, I think I fought a Muriel. It was absolutely terrible. She's broken. She's absolutely broken. She can still shield through walls. That said they were gonna like fix, quote unquote, or I guess nerf. She can just provide way too much coverage for her team. She's a get out of jail free card. She has a global ult to completely change the tide of a fight. She pretty much gives you a second life most of the time. She's insanely good when she's like on a tank. She's hard to kill, especially later on in the game. She's, no matter who you are, it's just really hard to catch her. It's really hard to stay on her. She can peel for herself. Her team can keep her safe super reliably while also just getting insane shields. This character is fucking busted. She needs a nerf. We need a breaker, an aura item for breaking shields to lower the shield. Maybe make it easier. Like, we need like a shield dispel where we hit something and it reduces the shields by like 90% immediately. We need something, because Jesus Christ, she's a problem. She's the best support in the game. She has to be the best support in the game by far. Terrible design. I mean, great design. It's fun. She's a real support. She's just like Mako, real support. But god damn, is she toxic. She is so good. If you're a new player and you want to play support, just play Muriel. I have to literally just play Muriel. Mako takes a lot of skill. Muriel, just press a couple of buttons and you're good. Put the shield down and just press your right click. It's all you got. You don't even have the ult. Don't need anything else. Just do that. Just don't even worry about the stun. Don't worry about anything. Just put some shields in your whoever's carrying you and you win. She's just so free. I think she should be banned every game, but everyone's too busy banning Iggy, so I don't know. Fucking broken character. But she's a lot of fun to play, I feel like, when you actually do play support, because she just has a lot of things that she does, but she's too broken. Murdoch is an A tier. He's a carry. That's it. I don't think carries are broken. I know people think otherwise. I think carries are just normal. They're just carries. I think they're too strong early game. I think their early game doesn't need a nerf. I think it should be more like Smite, where they're just, or any MOBA where they carry late game. But aside from the early game, like, if you can get past those first like 5 levels, they fall off pretty hard in the mid game, in my opinion. If you don't get kills or you don't get ahead, you fall off so hard in terms of like if you're on level with the jungler or something, because you're going to be behind in levels and they do way more damage than you. I play Sarath carry all the time, including in ranked, whenever my team doesn't dodge whenever I pick her. So I know Sarath destroys any other carry in terms of damage, and she is supposed to be a carry. So I know that these carries are just kind of mid tier. I still think their early game should be nerfed a little bit. Granted, if that's the case, then I'm just going to play Sarath carry every single game. But their damage is pretty lackluster after like the mid game. I just think early game, their damage is matching a lot of people's. I think it just needs to be changed, because again, you're a carry. You're supposed to be late game stuff. And it's really easy to snowball out of control. I will say, though, carries do have the advantage of, usually in like ranked games or anything, they'll usually get full build, because not only are they farming the most, but they'll probably be collecting the most kills mid game if their team is doing the job of keeping them safe. But a lot of the times, it's very difficult to keep your carry safe. A lot of the times, the carry will die, especially even in 5v5s, even against the best players. Like, you know, like it's hard to stay alive against good people who know how to engage, especially if there's characters like FaZe or Countess or Zenna. Like, these characters will destroy you as a carry. They will get every active you have. You will have to just position perfectly, or you're fucking screwed, because you have no defense as a carry. You have 0. You're not going to build any. You shouldn't, or you're trolling. The best thing that keeps carry afloat right now as well is the shield. I do think it's a little overdone. I think the cooldown does need a nerf for that shielding thing, but at the same time, I feel like it's more so the carries just need to scale like carries, and they need to be weak early, better late. I enjoy being a strong carry for once in a video game, though. I feel like every other MOBA, for the most part, except like, I don't know, like Arena of Valor, maybe, I don't know. Some other mobile MOBAs, carries start off really weak still, but not, you know, this is probably the strongest a carry's been in a while for me. Like, they just feel really strong starting off, and I like it. It's fun, but it can get out of control. I understand why everyone goes carry everything, because they do get out of control pretty easily, but they're also really easy to counter. I've had so many games where I've had double tank on my team or on the enemy team, and we've had double carry on the enemy team, and we've just won. We've steamrolled. It's so easy to just run over carries when you have 3 tanks or 2 tanks or something. So I don't know. Definitely does need, like, you know, carry. That's a carry. It's not even a Murdoch problem. I'm not talking about Murdoch in general. Murdoch by himself, though, if we're done ranting about carries, Yeah, I don't know. He's good. He's good. He's not as good as the other carries, spoiler alert, but he's pretty solid. His global ult really does carry him, in my opinion. He has a really good early game because of his poke, but his doesn't have like a stem or anything for late game, so he just kind of hits. Like, honestly, he doesn't feel as impactful to me as like a Twin Blast or something. So he's a solid carry though. A tier. I like him. Kind of. I just like his ult, really, honestly. His ult is true damage, I think, in global. It does go through shields, I believe, so yeah. Really good character. Narbash, Garbash, shit tier, garbage, dog doo-doo water, hate him. I kind of want to put him into C tier because I feel like he's definitely worse than Kalari. This character, I think Mako inadvertently made this character worse. I have not seen a Narbash in fucking forever. I've seen like one, and he regretted playing him. This character is so ass, and I'm glad people realize now how bad he was, even after his small healing nerf. And it wasn't small, it was pretty significant, but even with the healing nerf, I mean, I don't understand what this character, people like this character. He had one ability, basically. All this character has is a passive heal, which can be negated by anti-heal by every character in the game super easily. Grux has innately. He was a support. Remember, he's a support, so you have to play a backline support because you can't play frontline as a support. You just can't. Frontline tanks do not work as support in this game. They do not work. They are way too behind. Unless you're playing a bad team, tank supports do not work. So he automatically loses that tank line. So if you're going to go supporty, you die in 2 seconds. A carry shooting you is certain death. And you still have to frontline to use most of your abilities. Well, your main ability, which is your ult, basically. And your speed up is meant to, run in and stuff. Yeah, I mean, his best ability is probably his speed up. That's it. Realistically, he has a stun, but every support has a stun. Well, I guess not Mako technically. But Mako has a knockback. But like, why would I want his thunk, his single target stun, when I have an AoE stun from Muriel? Decker can hit 2 people with it if she gets lucky, if they're close enough, and it's just easier to hit. It goes further, just a better stun overall. And then Mako has that knockback, which can also be positioned in the air to like knock away someone like Gideon or something. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't really understand why you would ever play Narbash ever. I don't really understand what would like. I always this character was shit tier, and I didn't think he was this bad. But like now that Mako came out, it's like it's evident how bad he really was. He doesn't heal anywhere near as much as Mako, not even close. Like he doesn't even come like he's like over the course of a match, you're gonna heal like probably 3 times less than Mako, realistically, because you're gonna be dead most of the time. Mako is exactly. I think what they should do, give him range basics and boost his healing, and make his ult. Even if it's on CC immune, make it so he has insane mitigations, and the first 3 seconds he can't be CC'd out of it. Like, I feel like the first 2-3 seconds when the startup, I think he should have the knockup initially, and then he can't get CC'd out for those first 2 seconds, then he can get stunned out of it. But I think initially the knockup should happen, and then he should just keep slowing you from then, and then maybe at the end there's another knockup. I think this is what it would take for Narbash to actually be good, and also give him range basics, where he's just throwing his fucking drumsticks. Because this character, or even just throwing like like musical note drumsticks or whatever, like this character would be so much more fun and actually good, and he'd actually be a healer, a passive healer. Like his healing doesn't need to be as good as Mako's, but he should definitely have a boost of healing, because it can be countered so easily. The anti-heal items are so abundant, and everyone's building them because they're actually good. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, this character is so shit. I don't understand how people ever played this character. Phase. I don't understand why people sleep on this character. This character is just the most toxic character in the game. Even if you think this character is bad, she's the most toxic character in the game. A good phase is everyone's worst nightmare. She is the most toxic character. I think she is single-handedly the most toxic, more so than Iggy, the most toxic character in the game. I had a game probably a couple of weeks ago where I was mauling so hard. This character she ruined my, I think it was like the first or second game. She ruined my whole day. I think it was ranked. I was playing ranked, and she ruined my whole entire day. It was a phase solo, and she just fucking dominated everywhere. She gets out of control so easily in every tier. I see her every ranked game. I've seen her in like 9, 8. I've played like probably like 12 or 13 ranked games. I've seen her in like 8 or 7 of them. Get this character out of the game. She is so fucking... Make her a support again. I hate this character. I love her. I love playing her. She's fun. But Jesus Christ. She is insane. She can be support or she can be mid. I like playing her as support. I think as a support, she's insane. I think she is one of the best supports in the game. If you like Decker, you should like FaZe. She is probably the freest support in the game, aside from Muriel. And even then, probably more so. I think she's more broken than Muriel in terms of her kit. She can be a destroyer. She can destroy a whole team. If you get Dove as FaZe and you instantly link E ult, whoever is on you, especially early game, will die. No matter who unless they went magical defense first item, even then I think they will die. The reason being, if you're close as to someone as FaZe, it doesn't reflect in your damage numbers, but you actually do double damage. So if I'm FaZe, for instance, and I link to an enemy who just jumped on me, let's say it's a Chimera, he jumped ulted me, and I link to him, and he's hitting me, he's autoing me. If I press my E in my ultimate immediately, he takes 2 hits from the E, because if you don't know how FaZe works, when she links to a target, she does damage on herself and then at where the target is. So again, it doesn't actually tell you in the training mode or wherever you test it. It won't tell you you're doing double damage. It doesn't show 2 numbers, but you actually have 2 instances of damage hitting each other. I always thought this wasn't true because it didn't actually show up, but I tested it in custom with a friend, and Jesus Christ, it's true. She does double damage, which is why sometimes when I was FaZe and I'd go in like support, and I'd get close to like a Muriel or something who puts shields on herself and stuff, I'd kill her sometimes at the same exact level and I'd be shocked. It was because I was positioned on top of her. She actually does do double damage. So she's anti-melee pretty much, virtually. She also is a really good initiator because she can pull anyone out of position and they force them to use their dash, their blink, whatever. She is so easy to play. This character is brain dead easy, like FaZe levels of brain dead, Faye level of brain dead easy before her, nerfs. And she is insane. I don't understand why more people don't play her. She's a support. She is a support. She can be played as a support, but she's also a mid laner. You could honestly play her anywhere. You can play her mid, carry, support, solo. I don't care. This character is fucking disgusting. I don't understand how anyone thinks this character isn't good. Even if you think this character is bad because you can't play her, her design is the most. I think everyone can agree her design is the most toxic in the game, and I think she needs. She needs a kit rework. Like no matter what you do, this character. I mean, aside from getting rid of the blind, please get rid of that fucking blind. Jesus Christ. I think she'll need a kit rework because right now the ability to pull your enemy completely out of place, like your Richter, for free is super toxic, and then you can follow it up with an absurd amount of damage. And your team will just annihilate whoever you pull. Like if Gideon ults in the sky and I link to him, then I can just pull him out of the sky. If a belica's running up in the team, if I link to her, I can immediately pull her to the back of the team. And if she doesn't have her blink, she's dead. If a Feng Mao dashes in, I'll pull him behind my team, away from my carry, and then he just probably will die because he dashed in. Even if he didn't dash in, or he'll dash away. That applies. This logic applies to every character in the game. You just pull, and if your team is good, they act and they die. And if you're playing support, even if you're mid phase, you don't have to play like a damage dealer. But if you want to play like a damage dealer, if you link someone, you E ult and then you pull them immediately so their team can finish them off. Even if you don't manage to kill whoever it is, which is if it's a squishy, they're dead. But if they're not a squishy, if it's a tank, you dump all your damage into them, and then you instantly pull them to your side the second you dump the damage. If a tank runs into frontline, you'll instantly link, blind, hopefully get close to them, E ult, or if you're not close to them, just E ult, and then pull them to wherever you are, and they die. She is the most toxic character in the game. She needs a kit rework, definitely needs a change, not a fan of her. Please, dear God, fix her. Hate this character. Please. I'm praying, please. Fix this character. Make her back into a support that only can link onto allies. Just like in Pred. She just came out in Pred. She seems so much fun in Pred. She doesn't seem as toxic in Pred. Or her ultimate seems fucking absurd. She seems a lot more balanced. I want this phase back. She is still a really good support, guys. If you aren't playing phase support, play phase support. Don't play her full damage. You can try to play her support. But if you want to play full damage phase, by all means, do that too. But I say play her support phase play as a true support, and you will have a really good time. Rampage. I think this character is pretty useless if you have anti-heal in comparison to a lot of the other tanks. But he's not bad. I think he was overblown because of his stun. But like I never see people playing this character anymore, and whoever does never does well. He just kind of doesn't have enough mobility. Honestly, I think that's the biggest issue. Even if his ultimate being countered by anti-heal being whatever, he just doesn't move fast enough. Like, he can't chase, he can't even properly frontline half the time. I feel like he's just constantly getting hit. He's pretty much going to soak the most damage in the game, which he's a massive tank, don't get me wrong, but I feel like Sev just takes more damage. I mean, he has more health. So unless your ultimate is not, if you're not being countered by anti-heal, which again, early on, I guess you're going to take more damage than Sevarog, but when it comes to late game, this character's probably eating more because he just has more raw health than you do. Like, your ultimate is being pretty hard countered by everyone hitting you. And maybe Rampage might take a little bit more depending because he's going to get hit more. Sevarog's a lot more elusive and has a way better lockdown. Like, I'd rather have Sev root a million times than... I know it's like, why am I comparing him to Sev? Because they're both in the tank category. And I'm not even thinking about Aurora right now because she was always a tank, but she just got put there. But I'd rather have Sev, roots than Rampage rock, or even Quang or Aurora or whatever. He just doesn't do a lot. He just has a stun, that's it. His damage ability is minuscule. It's just, it's damage, but it's nothing. It doesn't do anything really for you. It doesn't have any extra effect. It scales off of the armor that you have, but he's just like, eh. Yeah, I don't know. He just isn't that good. And he just needs a little bit of help. I think that when he ults, he should get his super jump back. I think that would definitely help his mobility because you'd just be able to jump in and then you just fucking rock somebody. That would be so fun. Like, just literally just have that super jump back. But yeah, he just doesn't. He's solid. He's a good pick. I'm not going to complain that I have a Rampage. I'm going to complain that they just play poorly and make bad decisions. I think he also requires a lot of positioning skill though, and maybe I'm personally not that great with him. But he does require a lot of positioning skill, but at the same time, it's like, I'd rather just have Sev run down and carry because he can just straight up solo them super easily because he can catch them no matter what, than Rampage sit there and play fucking mind games forever, try to rock somebody and actually have to aim and hit the rock and everything. He just needs some help. Revenant, I think Revenant's fucking great. I had a blast. I just put out a video, I think my last video was Revenant. I had a massive blast playing Revenant. And I was surprised because I used to hate this character. I was just shocked at how much damage I was doing. I was shocked at that, how much power I could just straight up build and still prosper with no crit. This character, I feel like getting my crit online isn't a focus with Revenant anymore. I really don't. And the reason being is because if you guys don't know, Revenant has always been a character where you'd rush the first sword or whatever. I never did that. I actually never ever did that. And I play pretty well as him, in my opinion. I think I've always played pretty well as him. But I've been prospering with just building a fish first. It'd either be, or I think it's fish first into the speed up, whatever. Just these high power pin items. Because if you guys don't know, Revenant doesn't need attack speed. He just does not need any. You will probably build some at some point, but you really don't need any attack speed. But you're going to need 2 crit items at the end. You definitely should get it at some point. So you should get Treasured Sword of the Kingdom and the anti-shield eventually. But starting off, your first 3-4 items, I mean, honestly, I haven't been able to test it because they keep surrendering. That's how great this character is. I'm kidding. That's not really the reason, but I don't know. He's solid. I definitely think people think he's bad because he got nerfed, but I think people aren't just playing him correctly. I think people were abusing his auto reload thing way too much. Definitely a solid character. Just play him slow and don't ever use his volley in the middle of a fight. Only use it when you ult or if you're in the jungle or something. I still never even use it. I just focus on auto. The only time I ever use that ability is when I'm in my ult. I never even focus, even then, or if I can't catch them. I never really use that ability often. I just I think in my last gameplay, I don't know if I ever used the ability once. I might have, but I don't think so. I think I only ever got, and what I like to do is I start with Vital Wound to get that early game poke damage, and then I'll max my right click immediately. So personally for me, start with Vital Wound and then instantly max your right click because that's going to be your most damage. It's going to be what you're getting the most damage out of, and it gives you an insane power scaling. So if you go power and pen first item, you're fucking shredding carries because their power spike, even with and crossbow doesn't even counter Revenant. So if I'm Sparrow, my power spike comes from my third item, right? Yeah, my third item basically, depending on what you build. But Revenant's power spike comes first item, second item nearly. He just gets this massive damage boost. So focus on your power with Revenant. Don't focus on getting the crit item. It's just too expensive. Just get a fish and the thing that makes you move faster when you cast it. It's an active. And I think you're solid. Honestly, I think that's the Rev build. And just go into your normal carry stuff. Your crit, your 2 crit, your 4 more, whatever, or 2 more power. Really good character though. His ultimate is still really useful. Still a really good ultimate. His right click just again feels really good with that power pen scaling. Very good. Like him. Sarath, dude. I you don't understand. I want to put this character S tier so bad because she's just so good. This is a character I play all the time. If you guys don't know, this character is my favorite character in the game. I play her all the time. I play her in carry, mid, solo, jungle, sometimes support if I get unlucky. I think she's fucking the best. She has been the highest damaging warrior in the game by far, even more so than Crunch in terms of just her application of damage when she ults. And she is still holding that title. She does an absurd amount of damage. And it's even worse now. She needs nerfs, which is why I want to put her S tier. But I don't think she's quite there. Again, people will always argue she isn't an NECC. She has the ability to dodge like stuns, abilities in general, like game-changing ultimates. She can dodge a lot of those. I've iframed Aurora ult like 3 times, which is a game-changing ultimate. I've iframed that so many times, which is insane. But like even then, it's like her damage is just ludicrous. Like I play this character all the time. The damage application is super easy. You just press your ultimate, and you just fucking right click, and then you just straight up auto, and they're just dead. You can play her full damage crit, which I like to do all the time in quick play, and it's just funny seeing people blow up in 2 seconds. Like I kill so fast. And when I'm going carry, you can build hybrid and you can still play like a carry and absolutely destroy the carry you're fighting because you counter them and you still do a shit ton of damage. And you could fight off any other jungler or anyone else in the carry lane. Like if I get ganked by like a Chimera or like a Crunch or something, I'll just fight them. Like I don't even like run half the time. Sometimes I do, depending on my HP, but a lot of times I'll sit there and just fight because my carry that I'm fighting, well, they'll have an advantage depending on my support, but if I have like a phase or like a decker, I could just sit there and freely farm, or like even like a Mako to heal me. I just wait until I have an opportunity to go in, then I go in, and it's super easy, super solid, and my damage is ludicrous, and I'll always out trade whoever I'm fighting because she just out trades everybody. You can pretty much play this character anywhere. She's just super solid. I just don't think she's broken. I really don't. Like when I compare her to like Quang or like Countess, I feel like those characters are just straight up better than her. But I beat a lot of these characters because people don't know how to play them, but like those characters, their kits are just better than hers. But I will say Sarath's getting, I think if she gets another buff, I think that's just like, I think her right click definitely needs a nerf. It's too short of a cooldown. It was already one of the shortest cooldowns in the game. Like it was really, really short. It was like 4.5 seconds like at max level, but now it's like 3 seconds or something. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. If you get that 1 attack speed item that gives you cooldown per auto, you get it in 2 autos. I think it's 2, no, 3. I think it's 3 autos and you get it, or maybe it's 2. Like it's absurd. With 30% CDR, you get it like 2 autos. It's absolutely absurd. She definitely needs a nerf. But again, no CC does make her a little bit more viable to, or like, you know, to fail a gank. But her damage being so ludicrous, I don't think it even matters in the first place. She's gonna win every 1v1 pretty much that she fights. Crunch might give her a little bit of trouble, but even then, I think she still wins that. As long as you don't get stunned out of your right click, I think you're pretty solid. You can also dodge some of his stun. You dodge a stun if you get lucky with your E. And then you have an insane mobility. Like you can go up vertically, so you can get out of a lot of situations. I escape all the time as Zero. I do some crazy escapes of my life when I'm like running away as Sarath. It's really fun, and I get away from like 1 HP situations all the time. But yeah, I don't know. She's just really good. Again, I want to put her S tier. What do you guys think? Do you think she should be S tier? I think she's an A tier. I think she's honestly, I should have an A plus just for her. Like put her borderline S. I think she's better than everyone in this thing here. I think she just does way too much in comparison to them. But I don't think she's as good. I think she's better than Mako. Like realistically, like if I I get Mako, he doesn't have the same function, but like when I look at Mako, I'm like she should be here, realistically. But again, I just don't think she belongs in this tier. I don't know. You guys tell me. Another S tier, by the way. You see how like the list of characters, this is what I'm talking about. Everyone is pretty balanced. Again, you guys might not agree, but I think for me personally, when I play this game, you know, quite often, these characters are really solid. Regardless, some of them are just straight up broken, some of them are just really solid. These characters all are just, you know, in terms of balancing, pretty good job, in my opinion, of just having so many characters in the A tier. I think too many characters are in the S tier, whether it's my own doing from my own opinions or whatever. They did a really good job keeping these characters in the A tier. Shimbi though, absolutely fucking bonkers. She's gotten buffed way too many times. I miss her going tank Shimbi like from the start, basically, because she used to be able to go tank until they did that mage nerf. She had enough damage to just go tank, and she was one of the highest damaging characters still in the game in terms of just like application. But she's gotten damage mana buffs, she's gotten damage buffs, she's gotten cooldown buffs, she's gotten just so many buffs. She's gotten her dash being fixed was one of the best changes for her. She is so freaking good. She's a true assassin, so if you play her mid, you can play her like a full damage if you want. You can play this range poke game, which I don't recommend. I think it's not as good as the the melee game, but if you want to play the range game, you can. You're just kind of losing out, but you can play her solo, you can play her jungle, you can play her mid, and she's just really, really solid. She does a lot of melee. She does a lot of melee damage when you're close to people because of Cultist Blow. Her builds are usually going to be hybrid. You're going to go 3 damage, 3 tank, or 4 damage, 2 tank, depending on the comp you're fighting, and she's going to shred. She can dive pretty much anyone in the game and actually catch them because she has 2 dashes that go insanely far. She can get out of most situations by double dashing. Her dashes now go up and down slopes, so she's fixed. You know, this is how dashes should work, but it goes so freaking far. I mean, she zooms. She is so good right now. She's absurd. I've seen so many Shimbis. Almost every game I see a Shimbi, quick play, ranked, whatever. Shimbis all the time. I think she's insanely good. Her ultimate is one of the highest damaging ultimates in the game, rivaling that of like Countess. Like what I usually do is like I'll build up my ultimate on someone else, and then I'll just fucking ult a squishy, and they'll just die. It's absurd. Like 100-0, straight up die. Obviously sometimes procs will take effect, like mathematicians or whatever, if you're building that, but if you're not full damage, you probably won't be able to do that if you're not full damage. But again, you could still do hybrid and absolutely decimate. You're going to be tanking a lot of damage while still being able to dish out an absurd amount of damage. You're going to beat most characters in the game when it comes to damage. Her damage is ludicrous. There's not a lot of counters to her. She's just super elusive, and she does a shit ton of damage. Like, I think her one weakness is that like she can't jungle, and she runs out of mana pretty fast if you're not managing it properly, and then your jungling is really hard. Like you just struggle juggling in comparison to other warriors because you have a hard time taking objectives specifically. Your actual clearing camps is fine, but when you have to go take objectives, you have to make sure you have your blue though, but when you have to go take objectives, it's like it's really hard to start that because you just don't have that auto presence, you know. But she's really solid. Really good character. I don't think anyone really is going to argue with her just being really strong. I don't know if people will say she's S tier, but I think she's fucking broken. I think she's fantastic. I don't see a lot of good Shimbis, which is a shame, but I play her all the time, and Jesus Christ, man, she's just absolutely absurd. I drop like 20 kills every game as her. Not really, but I drop a lot of kills as her. She's really, really good. Definitely like her. Top tier. Sparrow, the best carry in the game by far. I'm going to put her right. Like, I'm going to like right here, dude. She trumps... Yeah, actually, let's put it right here. I think she trumps the other carries, man. She is my favorite carry, personally, by default. But, like, oh my god, dude. She is fucking bonkers, man. She is ludicrous. I mean, she has been insane, but they gave her that... I think she needs the movement speed nerf, just like Faye got. Her movement speed is 40%, and I get she doesn't have a dash or anything, but Jesus Christ, she zooms. She has a slow, she has a movement speed buff, she has an ultimate that is just good for team wiping. Like, I've literally wiped teams as Sparrow. I think she's the... I think I've gotten a pentakill... No, I don't think I've ever gotten a pentakill. I think I've only gotten quadras, but dude, she is insane. She does so much fucking damage. Her early game is absurd. All you have to do in the early game is just sit there and hit right clicks on the enemy, or you can hit the wave. She's extremely safe when it comes to farming, because she can clear the wave. I know the top... I'm pretty sure the top player is playing exclusively Sparrow when it comes to Rangers, because she's absurd. I don't know how this character isn't banned more than any other character, in my opinion. I get why, but like, she's absurd. She's easily the best carry in the game. I don't see a lot of good Sparrows. They always build really, really bad, but she is absurd. She just shreds, man. Like, I don't know what to say. She literally shreds. Her stem makes her one of the best early game carries. Her right click gives her some of the best poke in the game. And then her ultimate gives her some of the best team fighting capabilities in the game. She pretty much has it all. The only thing she doesn't have is a dash, but she might as well have a dash because you put your arrow rain down on you and then you just use your speed up. That might as well be a dash. Unless you're getting stunned into oblivion, like, it doesn't really matter. Your mobility is still pretty high just because you can run extremely fast. So very good character, S tier, or nearly S tier. I want to put her there, but not quite there. She is just kind of lacking that OP capability. But in terms of the carry role, easily the best by far. I don't think anyone really can argue with that. Definitely top tier. Sevarog. I think Sevarog is really solid. I think he's very slept on. I think he's really, really, really good. I think he's a solid pick. For a tank role, I think he's very similar to Rampage in terms of functionality when you think about those tanks, because they're the beefiest 2 tanks probably in the game. Maybe Quang or Aurora kind of get close, but in terms of the tank role, they do eat a lot of damage. Seb is one of those characters though that can just straight up chase down the carry and not worry about anything. Like, he could just sit there and just chase. And if they're focusing you with Sevarog, if your team isn't doing anything about it, like they're not focusing anyone else, then obviously it's a team difference. But He's just so good. I mean, he could chase down a carry. Like, what else do I say? Like a Murdoch, you have a root, you have a dash, you have an ultimate that knocks people away if they do get close to you. I almost never catch this character when he decides to run away. He is one of the most elusive tanks ever outside of Aurora. Like, he's just so fast. Like, I don't understand why he goes so far with his dash. And it's on such a short cooldown. It's like a 5-6 second cooldown at max level. It's absurd. So very good tank, definitely underrated in my opinion. He provides a lot of damage too. Like, his damage isn't bad if you play him right. He has pretty good damage. I wouldn't recommend playing him in the jungle. He's very, very slow. Definitely not one of the best tanks for clearing, but not bad. Steel is really, really good. I like Steel a lot. I'm gonna put him right here. I like Steel a lot when it comes to being in the soul lane. No, not in the jungle or anything, or even in support, but as a soul laner, man, Jesus Christ, his characters. I think everyone thinks his character is pretty absurd. I think his knockups need like a nerf in terms of how far you go up. It's so good that it also sometimes hinders your team, because he knocks you up so far that when you're playing melee, when you use use your dash and use your ult, it's like 3 seconds of just not being able to hit whoever you're fighting. So it can actually buy time for the enemy team to go and help them. But at the same time, if you're a ranger, you're just gonna fucking be blasting whoever's in the air. He's just really good. He has a lot of CC. He has that shield that he can just walk through and provide so much coverage, and it's a slow, and it's just an auto negation. It's absurd. It's not just an auto negation. It blocks abilities. I think that's like, I feel like blocking autos is one thing. The fact that you can't use most abilities can't go through that. There's like, I think Sparrow might be able to, maybe not, but like maybe. But Jesus Christ, man. He's absurd. He's absolutely insane. Definitely needs some kind of like knock up nerf just to help him more because of his team. But yeah, I don't know. I like him. I hate playing with him when I'm a melee, but when I'm a ranger, it's like, dude, he's so nice to have on the team. Just don't go support as him. He'll just die after he goes in though. So definitely do not go support. Twin Blast is really solid. I definitely like Twin Blast. His ultimate just got a massive nerf recently, because he literally just was 100 0ing people with just his ultimate. So he got a massive nerf, but thank God, because I was like, dude, this character is insane right now. He wasn't better than Sparrow though, but that was just a straight up broken ability. But in terms of his actual carry potential, he was really solid. I mean, after he got his buff to his right click, he used to be the weakest carry in the game, one of the weakest carries in the game. He got a buff to his right click, and after that, he's just been super solid. I mean, he just does a lot of damage. He has really good mobility. He has a slow to keep pressuring targets. He just does a lot of damage. I like this character a lot. He's kind of an example of what you want a carry to be. Same with Sparrow. They're like what you want your carries to be. Very good characters. Like them a lot. Definitely in a good spot right now in terms of ADC. Wraith, C tier. Shit tier. Hate this character. Terrible character. Needs a rework, just like Kalari. Some kind of kit rework. He provides absolutely nothing to your team. I honestly keep trying to give this character the benefit of the doubt, but he's just so shit. I see this character like every game, and I don't know why, and they always play like garbage. Like, even if you play like really well as Wraith, even if you do a lot of damage, you just know you're not doing anything. His poke is artificial damage. Of course you're gonna have a lot of damage. You can poke, your brains out, but you're not gonna actually do anything. Like, seeing a high damage number doesn't mean you're actually good. He doesn't. In terms of a team, if a team fight happens in Orb, what does this character do? What is he gonna do? He's gonna right click once. Then he's going to rewind somebody. Then he's going to put a ward down. Then he's going to ult for some reason, if he wants to. And he's going to right click again. And then he's going to have to wait, right click again. His damage is slow. It's boring. It's lame. It just doesn't make any sense to me why people play this character. He just needs a kit rework. I don't know what else to say. I think his right click should be half of the range that it is and actually do more damage, but be half of the range that it is. I think he should get another ability that does damage. And he shouldn't just be some recon expert. Like, the recon design doesn't work for 2023. I don't know. I don't think it ever worked for Paragon either. I feel like in Paragon he was still shit, and I feel like that sentiment is shared. He just doesn't do anything. He really does. His ultimate is useless. There's so many wards in the map. Who cares about his ultimate? You can't do damage coming, at all. You can't even heal. He's just fucking worthless. Definitely needs some help. I don't know, really. I've recommended some changes for this character. Like I said, I think the snipe is a toxic design, so just half the snipe range and just make him do more damage. Realistically, like, that's the only thing you can do. And then give him another damaging ability, even with just the snipe. I don't think this, unless your snipe is what I think they should do actually is half the range and then make his snipe his new auto. Make it cost like 20 mana and then just right click Like that's your auto. Like, you know how like Zeri in I don't know, again, I don't know if anyone plays League. I just started playing League, so teach me. But he's like Zeri. Like make him like that. That would be super cool. Like he just presses right click, and that's basically his new auto. And then his left click maybe gets an enhancement based on how many right clicks he did. Maybe he has like a bar or a meter or whatever. And if you right click 4 times, your next auto is going to be enhanced, and he does like extra magical damage or something. But make it so make him like a magical carry, like he's able to right click constantly to get, or maybe make him an actual physical carry that converts to magical damage with his right click. I don't know. He just needs some kind of help because his auto game is terrible when it comes to other carries. His damage is terrible when it comes to other mages. When it comes to an actual team fight, he doesn't offer a lot of CC or anything. The best ability he has is a rewind, and most of the time it's just going to save the melee that jumped you in the first place. It's not even going to do anything for you. When they're diving the tower, you're going to die, and then all of a sudden they're alive, they're behind. Like, I've been saved by this ability more times than it's hindered me, so. He does have some plays that he can do, but he's just so shit. I'm not even going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Not going to put him in B tier, but like, you could play this character here. Like, no, he's just bad. Wukong, dude. All right, this character, along with Iggy, is the most banned character in the game by far. In ranked, in all levels, I'm pretty sure you see these bans all the time. Iggy and Wukong. Unlike Iggy, though, this character actually is warranted. Now, this character has to be the most overblown character in the game right now, which is shocking. I don't know what changed. I said when this character released, he was the most broken character in the game. No one believed me for some reason. Everyone said, haha, funny soul. But now everyone's saying it. They're like, oh, he got buffed. Those buffs meant fucking shit. He does the exact same thing that he did on release. It's easier to do, don't get me wrong, but it's still almost identical to what he was doing. He is able to tank inhibitors. He's able to take every objective. You're rushing your attack speed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that's changed is that going stance is kind of not troll anymore because his right click, the leap, specifically defense stance, the attack stance sucks. Don't use attack stance. But defense stance is actually decent in the end of the game because you can actually, you move faster. They basically made it so you can like, you drop, I don't know if you drop faster, but you go farther basically. And the velocity is faster. So you basically can cover the distance easier without having to use that weird double jump that you have without getting any stance. So like, for the first 6 levels, you should never get your stance. I think on level 7, if you really want to, you can grab your stance. You don't need it, but like oftentimes by like level 10 or level 11, I'll have my stance, right? I've grabbed it at some point. But most of the time before level 7, specifically before level 6, level 7 generally is where you'll have to get, you get the upgrade choice. So before level 7, you won't have your stance. You shouldn't have your stance because you're going to be busy clearing camps, and the best way to clear camps is just by using your right click and poking through all those minions. And it also helps you with those early ganks if you do decide to do it, because you can get some early damage off, and then you can right click, and again, like I said, it's free damage. But aside from ignoring ganking completely, this character has the ability to end the game within 30 minutes. That's a toxic design. I really think they should just buff his kit overall and make it so he can't hit inhibitors. I don't know why they think I don't know why they like allow that. Like, structures should not proc clones. I don't understand why that, like, it's okay if objectives do, whatever. Objectives it's insane getting all the objectives anyways. That would still be insane by itself. But the fact that you can literally go and tank inhibitors at the end of the game, mid game, like not even, and you will have the most gold in the game most likely, depending on your jungle, solo, whatever. If you're in jungle, you will have the most gold in the game because you get all of your camps, including the single camp, which I always skip. I always say skip the single camp if you're playing jungle. You don't skip it as Wukong. You can get it in like 2 seconds, and then you go to their jungle and take everything they have, and then the jungler's behind and everything. It's absurd. You abandon every team fight nearly to go in jungle because you're going to be level 18 before anyone else, and you're going to have the most gold, and you're going to be taking inhibitors faster, like to an insane extent. And you should play him like a tank too, by the way, guys. People keep saying go damage Wukong. Don't go damage Wukong. You will get 3 damage items, I believe, because you need them, because you have to get attack speed. But do not go a damage build. You do not want to. Full damage Wukong is not the one that is supposed to end the game. It is the tank that's going to end the game. You want to be able to take a lot of tower shots, even if you're taking fire from the enemy team, and the tower to tank all those blasts, because you can destroy the inhibitor so fast. Your damage comes from your attacks. I don't think people realize how much damage he gets from attack speed. So if you guys don't know, for people who are trolling with Wukong right now, start with 3 attack speed. You know the 750 attack speed items? I think it's called Wind Element or whatever. Start with 3 of them. Just grab 3 of them and then instantly build your Zimia's toy or whatever you want to build first. It doesn't have to be Zimia's toy, but it's really good because it helps you clear. That's your go, and then you start building off of that. You can go 3 attack speed, you can go more defense right away, you can go more attack speed right away, or you can go more damage right away, but you don't need physical power immediately. You just don't. I know people are like, but dual moon and spirits armor. I know those items are great. You don't need them right away though, because you're not going to be fighting, you're going to be farming. And you could farm with a tank build. It's super easy because you do so much damage to camps. You don't need damage. And I know people are like, but I can clear camps in 2 seconds with power. Yes, but if you get into a situation where you need to be able to not die and you're going to feed your brains out, it's just going to slow you down even more. So taking 2 more seconds to clear a camp because you decided not to go 40 power is way better than dying and having to reset, or even in team fights or in orb fights, or being able to tank objectives. Trust me, I play this character. He's my second most played character by far. I know how this character works. I've played him so fucking much, and I've carried a lot of games as him. Just do not play him like a full damage dealer. That's not what he is meant for. Play him like a tank who could take objectives and tank inhibitors. That's what you're supposed to play him as. Anyways, enough with the rant. Just know this character is broken. He needs a nerf. Just nerf the ability to hit structures and then buff his stance, because Jesus Christ, that stance has been shit the entire time. It still needs massive buffs. His design is counterintuitive. When you use your right click in the attack stance, it pushes you people away from you when you're supposed to be auto attacking them. That doesn't make any sense. I never understood that, so fix that. But other than that, he's the best character in the game for ending the game. I don't think he's the best in team fights. I think he's pretty mediocre in team fights. He's not terrible. He's not really that great. But in terms of actually ending the game, he's the best character in the game for that purpose. So if you're thinking about, playing solo and you know how to play this character, he's a really good pick, because if your team is really that shit in quick play, it's pretty easy to win a quick play match. I've won games where I've had a disconnect and a thrower on the same team as Wukong in a quick play match. Obviously in ranked, it's not going to be like that. They're going to actually be attentive, but I've won a lot of games playing as Wukong where that we weren't supposed to win. And it was just because I was Wukong and I didn't fight at all. I had like 5,000, 10,000 damage max, but it didn't matter because I was just fucking taking every inhibitor. I was taking every objective super fast right when they came up, or I would steal them whenever. I was taking everything in the enemy jungle. I was able to 1v1 the enemy jungler because I was so far ahead. This character is absurd, needs a nerf. Not the best team fighting character in the game, but he is the best objective taker, the best, including inhibitors. Zenna, I want to put her honestly A tier, just because she's still broken, but she's S tier. This character is fucking absurd. This is the last character in the tier list. Another S tier, absolutely broken. I don't know why. I know why people don't play this character. It has to be because of the desync. But this character is the only one, probably, who I'd have to say it's so viable to go full damage to any role. Every time I play her, I want to go full damage. Now, I'm not saying that's the way you should play her, but I play her hybrid, but she is an absurd damage dealer. I play her in carry. So I played her in carry ranked in plat, I think twice, and like gold once. And I actually won. I've won every single carry game as Zenna, I think. I'm pretty sure, as in ranked. That was previous season. Yeah, this character is absurd. She's absolutely broken. Her ultimate is an insta-kill almost. If you're full damage, it's an insta-kill. If you're hybrid, it isn't. But her whole kit dump, even with hybrid, is still pretty much an insta-kill for the carry. Maybe with an auto or two here or there. Your whole thing is you dash in, you hit your Spirit's Fang, which you should have no matter what build you're doing. You hit your Spirit's Fang as you go in, so you hit that initial 400 or 500 damage. You knock up, and then you auto as much as you can as they're coming down, and then you instantly ult. You hit a bunch of times, and then you slam down, and if for some reason they're still alive, whether they got a shield or whatever, you finish them off by dashing towards them, because by this time your dash is probably already back up, because it's a 7-second cooldown because they nerfed it, or they buffed it, I guess. This character's absurd. She has just insane get in ability. I've been saying this. They nerfed her 3 times on release, and then they buffed her because they thought she was too weak. But they nerfed her 3 times. And I've been saying from the start of the game, this character is fucking absurd. She can dash in from like 10 million miles away, and then dump her whole kit on somebody like Countess, and then dash out. I mean, the only difference between her and Countess is that she can freely decide where to go, unlike Countess. So she can get out of a lot of situations, and her dash resets on kill. So whatever kill you get, it'll just reset it. No matter what, you don't have to get it with your ult or your dash or whatever. You can just get it with any ability, an auto, and it resets it. So she's absurd. Definitely needs a nerf. And I think it's not even a damage nerf she needs. It's just a dash nerf. I think her dash should just not be as far as it is. I think it's just a toxic design. That being said, I think it's the only reason she's able to be played as well as I do, even with just her, because her desync issue is fucking absurd. They have not, it's been, I think 4 or 5 months now since I think it's 5 months since the game's been out, and they have still not managed to fix Zenna's dash issue. And it's so frustrating because this character is so fun, and I'd probably, honestly, she'd probably be my second most played character. Let's be honest, I play her a lot, but I every time I'm playing the game, I'm like, I don't want to play Zenna because she's so fucking buggy. It's so annoying having to time my abilities delayed, or having to stand still. If you stand still and you don't input WASD at all, you actually don't desync. I don't think I've ever desynced by just standing still. Like, so if I'm dashing and I'm using WSD to move around, if I let go of WSD at the last second, then let go of the dash after I let go of WSD, which I like to move around when I'm using abilities and hold it down, you actually don't desync. So it's an input issue with the server. The server isn't detecting your or it's over detecting your input, so it's putting you back in place to where they think you should be or whatever. I don't know exactly how it works, but if they fix that, she, I think, will be a lot more loved in the eye of the public, you know, the eye of the community. Because right now people don't play her. Now I will say I've seen her in ranked a shit ton. I see her, I think she's like the most picked jungler I've probably seen in ranked, and they all play bad, but for the most part. But even like some top players I saw from previous seasons, or the previous season, they were playing Zenna, and I was like, wow, you guys aren't playing like grux or something. I'm surprised. So obviously there's some more love going towards her, but it's not. She should be like she should be played every game, quick play, rank. Like it's shocking to me. But then I'm like, oh, well, she's desync, so it makes sense, because I don't play her because of the desync. Like I don't play her as much as I should. I still play her sometimes. I play her in carry sometimes, jungle, but yeah, definitely needs some kind of like adjustment to that dash in terms of the distance, and then also needs to fix her desync, and then she'd still probably be S tier, but like she wouldn't be as good as she is. But I'm going to keep her at the end of it just because of her desync. If it wasn't for desync, or if you can play without actually moving when you're doing the dash, I'd probably put her like right here, honestly. But let's keep her at the end of this for now. Anyways, that's the tier list, guys. That was a lot longer than I thought. I wanted to make it a lot shorter. So I think this is like an hour and 30 minutes at least, maybe even more. So I apologize. I had a lot to say about these characters. There was just a lot to say. I thought it was gonna be short, but with like 32 characters, 33 characters, but Jesus Christ. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. That is my tier list for I guess April, whatever it is, April 18th, 19th. Yeah, I know it was a long time coming, but I'm glad we got all these characters in here. This is basically where I'm at with the game. I know you guys probably have some revisions. Tell me what you think in the comments below, what characters, where you would put what characters, and why you think that. But for the most part, I'm pretty comfortable with this tier list. With some, you know, slight additions here and there when it comes to like situational like matchups. But yep, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably be making a video that like thing I want for Overprime to be fixed or whatever, like the 5 things or whatever. I don't know if it's gonna be 5, but they're 5 listed right now, my thing. And just overall changes for Overprime I want, because I don't know, it's like right now it's like we're probably gonna get delays, and so I'm hoping there's gonna be like a gaming overhaul when it comes to actually the entire game, when it comes to economy, when it comes to I guess just like the function of the game, like inertia system, the gravity system in general, all that stuff. That was kind of fixed, but it still needs a little bit of work. Stuff like that just needs to be fixed. But yeah, optimization, Zenna dash, stuff like that. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.